thanks for joining us for Mid-American Gardener. I'm your host, Tinisha Spain. Today we're doing things just a little bit different. You may remember as part of our 30th anniversary, we visited the second host of the show, Diane Nolan's house, earlier this summer to talk to her about some of her memories of the show. Well, today we're talking to the original host and creator, Jack Kelly. He's going to be on to share some of his memories about his time on the show and also what he's been doing and what he's been up to since he left Illinois. But first, we visited the CU Plant People Plant Swap in Urbana earlier this fall, and we met some folks there who were hoping to score their dream plant. Take a look.
As always, it's really fun to be around all the CU plant people in real life. You know, we always do a lot of swaps and trades in the group, but it tends to be more sort of like porch pickup things. And so when we come together in person, it's always just such great energy. And people are just so excited to be here. So for that reason, I always love a good plant swap.
Now, I see that things seem to, in my opinion, things are running a little bit smooth this year. We've got the one-to-one swap table kind of down to a science. Is that your experience? That things, are people getting the hang of how to come to the swap? I guess
think
is the
so.
question.
Yeah, I think so. I think there were probably some people who were brand new to it who had never come before, but typically, yeah, everybody seemed to know what they were doing. I didn't have to make any big announcements this time. Maybe I should have, but it seemed like you're right. It seemed like it went pretty smoothly, yeah.
Did you see anything at this swap that you haven't seen before as far as rare finds? Did anybody come in with something where you were like, ah?
Well, no, I'm trying to think. There were some really big philodendrons, like Congo reds and things that were like these giant plants. We haven't had too many of those in the past, so that was fun. I saw a pineapple plant with little babies coming in. The person who brought that one had just harvested an actual pineapple off of it, so I know that one, had some good possibilities for making some fruit. And then someone brought some fake plants, which is a new one.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Those you can't kill, so
hey.
They may be appealing to some people.
Turnout-wise, numbers, how does this one measure up against the other swaps?
Especially compared to the spring swap, which is in the same space, it seems like it was a little lighter this time. And I think it's easy to tell because, we're in the same space. You could really feel the difference here. I don't know if it's because it's the fall and people are kind of done with the plant season a little bit, or and people are so much ready for that in the spring. So it's that, or maybe, I feel like a lot of people go through a phase when they first get into plants where they're like, I have to have everything. And maybe all of us in the group are kind of past that phase, and now we're into sharing and not so much taking stuff home. I don't know.
Interesting.
But we'll definitely still do it in the spring, and maybe it'll bring out, a bigger group again, and we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything coming up next for CU Plant People? Anything on the schedule or anything that you're anticipating?
Not that we're sponsoring in the group really, but I know there's plant sales and bulb sales going on in the community. I'm going to be selling some plants myself at the Delight Flower Farm bulb sale, which is on October 8th. So that, but otherwise it's just sort of smooth sailing through the winter until we get excited about spring planting and stuff again.
Okay.
And then we'll have another plant swap in the spring, but I don't know when.
And did you have anything that you picked up today? Are you taking anything home?
Well, my daughter came, and she's 10, and so she can't go home without plants. She's kind of like her mom in that way. I've learned to cut it down, but she got a string of pearls and a spider plant, which we have those things at home, but she wanted her own. So
she wanted her own. All right. Anything else that you'd like to add about this swap, or about the group, or anything else that I didn't touch on?
Just if you're looking for us on Facebook, we're CU Plant People. So just type that in, answer the membership questions, and you should be let in.
As the founding member of the group, what's it like for you to have these meetings where it goes from, virtual to in real life, in person? What's that like for you to see this kind of the progression of the group?
I love it. I just really do. And I think everybody else gives me that sort of same vibe back. A lot of people have said that it's sort of their favorite place to be on the internet or their favorite place to be on Facebook. So I know people love it, and everyone in it is really great. So it's really nice. It's really satisfying to see how much it's grown too. I think we're almost at 5,000 members. So in a couple of years, we've really caught on. So it's really great.
Okay, excellent. Tell me what brings you out today.
Just to trade some seeds and looking for more seeds and giving a lot of my seeds. Today I brought strawflower, hollyhock, Zone 5 orange tree seeds, sunflowers, and 4 o'clocks.
Okay. Do you like native pollinators? What's your favorite type of flower?
I like annuals that flower a long time, so that's usually not going to be native or perennial.
So you like that big, vivid pop of color and something to look at.
And for a long time.
What about your garden this year? What did you end up growing outside?
In my raised bed I had eggplants and tomatoes and tomatillos, and I'm trying to start some Chinese windmill palms, hopefully getting those acclimated to Zone 5, which they won't until they're much older.
I'm not familiar with those. I'll have to look that up.
Yeah, they say Zone 6. I've heard they planted a bunch of them in New York, but they're already very tall, well-established plants, and so you got to get them there.
Gotcha.
And then maybe they'll survive winters here.
Maybe. Is this your first time coming to the plant swap?
This, yes.
Okay, so how did you hear about it? How did you find out about it?
From you.
Oh, nice.
From you.
Bonus points.
Yes.
Bonus points.
Yes.
What are you hoping to find today? You brought some seeds in, but is there anything specific that you were hoping to take home?
No, just something I can always plant and I don't have or haven't tried. I did try a lot more flowers this year than I've ever grown before. Usually it was typical when I was younger. Yeah, I've been growing since I was 6 years old.
Really?
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
I've been outside. Who got you started?
Well, my parents had gardens and stuff, and so my mom thought it was. She came up to me. Why is there beans in the house plants? I'm 6 years old. Well, I thought I was doing something really bad, and she's like, I went to the refrigerator, grabbed bean seeds, and actually put them in the pots, and they hand fertilized them and got me beans out of them. But that's how early I started. I didn't even need encouraging from them. I did it on my own.
Wow. So it's kind of become a lifestyle for you.
And I've always, the only time I didn't have a garden was when I was in the Navy, and then a couple of years after I was injured. So.
Gotcha. Okay. Have you found anything so far that you're going to take home?
Just a couple things.
Couple things?
Seeds and some bulbs.
Gotcha. Okay. Excellent. All right, so you are manning the special trades table. Tell us a little bit about that.
So the special trades table started because some people had items that they had more value and they wanted to either make sure that they were going to someone who knew how to care for it. They could at least give them some information about how to care for it. Things that maybe aren't for a beginner. Or things that they were interested in trading one for one, and if they couldn't trade one for one, taking it back home. So we set up this table where people can bring those types of items, and I take down their information and put a number on them, and if somebody's interested in that plant, I yell for them and they come over to discuss with the potential.
Wow, so this is for your more rare finds?
Could be rare, could be high sentimental value to the owner. It's self-defined special trades.
Gotcha,
So.
And that's why they call you the enforcer, right?
Right, I'm the enforcer. At the very first plant swap, we didn't have anybody manning that table and things were just walking off and people needed somebody to come step in, and so that's me. I intimidate people down to
And how has that been so far? Have you had a lot of folks come up and?
We have had quite a few people bring things that they want to be able to tell the person how to properly care for it, like the jasmine or these other more special plants. And then we had some others, and those have found new homes already. So
Going really good.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else you want to add that I didn't ask about the special trades table?
I don't think so.
Okay.
It's a great place to look, though, and you might take home something really great that somebody just wants to make sure you know how to take care of it.
Excellent. Okay. So how'd you hear about the swap?
So I'm a member of CU Plant People. I'm just a student at the University of Illinois. I'm in my senior year. And my roommates got me really into plants and like collecting plants and stuff. And so I really, this is my like first ever swap, and I'm like new to all this stuff. And so I don't have any plants necessarily, but I brought a lot of like ceramic pots to exchange.
Excellent. So this is your first time coming to one of their events, huh? What'd you think?
It's just so cool. I was like worried it'd be very hectic, but it's like super peaceful, and everyone's so nice.
All right, and tell us about some of the cool stuff you found. What are you taking home today?
So I've grabbed a couple cuttings. So I have this like list of plants on my phone that I have like dream plants.
You have a wish list.
Yeah,
huh?
I have a wish list.
Okay.
And so this is a satin pothos unrooted. So it's like people like cut off like a stem of their plant, and then wrap wet paper towel to like encourage rooting in a node. So satin pothos, I just really like how the leaves look, and like if under the right conditions, I have like grow lights at home, they like these small leaves can get like even the size of your hand, and they get really soft, and I really love that.
Now, was this one on your list?
It is.
Okay, all right, check.
It is satin pothos. I grabbed this philodendron Brazil. It's rooted. I was very intrigued. I have one of these, but it's really small. It has a bunch of leaves like this small, and I've never seen a leaf this big. So I was like, hopefully, like, if
It's got some nice variegation on there too.
The Brazil, they like all look like this. I love them. This is the Tradescantia Nanook Zebrina, I think. I have other kinds of Tradescantias, but I really love how the pink comes through on top here. Like, there's another Tradescantia Zebrina down at the other table. And it has white on top but pink on the bottom, but this one has pink all the way through, and I was like, that's so sick.
Gotta have it.
Gotta have it. And this one's Monstera Addisoni Narrow, and I've never seen this.
I haven't either.
I didn't know it came in narrow. I have.
It's unrooted.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've got some work to do. To
yeah. Put
kind
these
of baby
in water
these
for a
guys.
while. Yeah. And this is Hartley Philodendron, which has also been on my list. The leaves are pretty small, but they're very cute.
It's healthy too. Excellent. Now, have you found everything that you want today, or are you still looking?
Oh, I have. The list is long. The list is very long.
Yeah.
So I'm always looking. But this is like a haul, basically.
Excellent. Okay.
Very large.
Anything else you want to add that I didn't ask you about plants or the swap? Is this gonna be part of your routine now? Are you gonna come
I
to more
hope so.
swaps?
So every Wednesday, or not every Wednesday, the last Wednesday of every month, CU Plant People, the Facebook group has like this, like it's like a wish exchange, and so like you put in the comments like what plant like you're wishing for, and so if somebody has that plant and can offer a cutting, they like comment and everything. And at first I was really like insecure about it. I was like, I'm new, I can't really like offer anything, but like I really am like looking for like a pothos. And like tons of people reached out to me, and I was able to like schedule with them, and so like I got a bunch of pothos.
It's a great
and like
group.
Throughout the summer, like they got so big, and I'm like, oh, this is so cool. And like growing plants, like at first it seems like really daunting, and you're like, oh, I have to keep this thing alive. But now it's like really rewarding, and it's like I can see them grow really big, and like even some do die, but then I like learn from my mistakes, and like, oh, like I wasn't watering enough, or was getting too much light.
Yeah.
I didn't know a plant could get too much light, but they definitely can.
Yes. Excellent. Okay. That is it from the CU Plant People Plant Swap here at Common Ground in Urbana. Lots of folks came out today and fed their plant addiction. I even got a few really great things. In fact, someone came up and gave me this, so I'm really anxious to get this one home, get it rooted, and take care of it. Make sure you check out CU Plant People on Facebook, and of course you can find us at Mid-American Gardener. As you know, we're celebrating 100 years of WILL and 30 years of Mid-American Gardener, which is the longest running show on WILL, I might add. And you probably remember we visited our previous host, Diane Nolan, this summer at her home, Well, today we are visiting the original host of the show, the creator of the show. That's right, the one and only Jack Kelly is joining us right now via Skype from Virginia. So first of all, Jack, big welcome to the show. And I just personally would like to say thank you, because without your vision, I wouldn't be sitting here today. So thank you and welcome.
Oh, thank you so much. Appreciate that.
So
I might say maybe the vision belongs to Ellis Bromberg, who used to be the general or the station manager. And I knew him, or he was in Binghamton, New York, when I was doing a show there called Illinois Gardener. And when I came to WILL, Ellis said, "Can you do the gardening show here?" And so that's how Illinois Gardener got born.
So let's talk a little bit more about that. What did it take? What went into the planning and sort of getting this show off the ground? What was that like?
Actually, it turned out to be a very easy thing to do. I had the sort of the formula worked out with New York Lawn and Garden. That show aired on Saturdays at 1 o'clock. So when Ella said, "Do you want to do it?" I said, "Yeah, but I don't want to do the weekend. So can we do it on a Thursday night or something?" And he said yes, they could fit it in the schedule. And then we built the set that we had at that time that kind of looked like a greenhouse. And the panelists all sat at a long table in this greenhouse. And that's how it basically just started rolling, doing a live show on Thursday nights.
Now, tell me a little bit about the format that you put together. You brought together, the host and then the experts. What was tell us a little bit about the thought process there.
Well, the thought process was I knew nothing about gardening. And so when I did the show, I always needed to have experts, and I wanted the master gardeners to be part of it, and they were good. And then we had people who were the commercial folks who did stuff, and so it was basically 3 people plus me. And Diane was one of I think she might have been on the very first show, being part of Cooperative Extension and the master gardener. And it rolled very easily from there. It was a live show and strictly call-in. And then as time went on, we played with the formula a little bit to add roll-ins and then field-based programs.
And so that pretty much is still the blueprint to this day. We've got the panelists that come on and answer questions. We still take calls on occasion on the show. So that blueprint that was put in place 30 years ago is still largely what people tune in and see. And we're still on Thursday nights. So some things have changed. Some things have stayed the same. What memories do you have from your time as host? I know that's a big question, but...
Yes, and at my age, memories can fade now. But let me see. We used to do things to sort of just start off the show with some humor before we got into taking calls, because we needed to fill maybe 2-3 minutes before the calls started. So we would do things like, I remember one where we had a phone call to the White House to talk to their head gardener. And we were talking about composting. The composting at the White House. And this was just another person who worked at the station pretending to be someone at the White House. And that was a lot of fun. And let me think, then the other thing that we started when we started trying to do roll-ins was I really shot them in real time. So in my mind, it's like, okay, this is going to be a 5-minute segment. And we would have someone from, I remember a couple people that we had at the university, and they would do this or attempt to do a data dump. And we'd be in like 3 minutes and they're only just warming up and be like, no, let's do this again, but you got to get it in. You got 5 minutes. You can't give me all that information. I know you're a professor and that's what you kind of like to do, but it's just like, well, you only got 5 minutes. So let's just jump to the chase here. And so it took time teaching them how to do their segments in real time. But once they caught the hang of it, it just rolled, because then it didn't require much editing in post to get the roll-ins going.
Another trend that you started that continues. And it's hard too. And I was laughing when you were talking because when you've got folks that are so passionate about their field and they're truly scientists and asking them to boil down, a lecture's worth of information to a 2 or 3 or 4 minute segment is really, really hard. So I got a kick out of that because I understand, we want to get the information out, but they are just so full of knowledge that sometimes it's not always easy.
No, now, Diane Nolan was great at doing that. She understood that from like the get-go and could get right into that and say, okay, fill the time, we'll do it that way. And she was great. Actually, they all were, but it just took a while for some to get the hang of it.
Now, over the years that you were hosting the show, well, first, how many years did you host altogether?
I think it was about 5 years, maybe 6 years. From when I got there, started the show until I left. I left WILL and went to a station in Nevada, in Reno, Nevada. So it was just during that period when I was at WILL.
Awesome. And during that time, how did the calls start to change? I know sometimes it's hard to get people to call in and ask questions. Did it take a little training of the audience, or were they just on it immediately?
They were on it, just like in New York. They were on it. And but we just kept to Central Illinois. We weren't doing a distribution process. In Rochester, when we did Illinois, or when we did New York Lawn and Garden, it started local, and then after a year and a half, it's just exploded, and they distributed it. And the downside was people who lived outside the Rochester area were the last to get on. And further away you were, the more likely you would get on based on the phone system we had. So when we started here, it was, I'd say from the very first show, the phones rang right off the top, and we didn't have to worry about it. I mean, I worried that, gee, what if no one calls in? What are we going to do?
Now, on that same vein, did you know or think or believe that this would be a success in the heartland, and take off and gain momentum like it did in New York? Was there ever a wonder about, I don't know if this market would be into something like this?
I didn't think about that, but after I left and you guys, then it really exploded, I think, and started you became the Mid-American Gardener. Mm-hmm. And I thought that's great. I'm glad they were able to get it outside just the Champaign-Urbana or the Central Illinois area. So that's on you guys for being able to distribute it and grow it.
Awesome. And so, speaking now, what are you up to now? Are you still working in television? Are you still gardening? What are you up to?
No, my gardening days ended in Illinois. It's funny because in Illinois at WIL, I did some documentaries where in one we went to Italy and another we were down in Mexico. And when I came back, my gardens, because when I was in Italy, we were gone for like almost a month. And when I came home, the garden was just disastrous. And the next time when we went to Mexico, the same thing came back. So it's just like, okay, gardening, this isn't going to work. So I'm not going to worry about gardening. But Diane did get me to become a master gardener. She sort of pushed me and said, okay, I'll go through the classes and I'll become a master gardener. And that lasted for as long as I was at WIL. But today I'm sort of semi-retired. I'm not in broadcast anymore, but I still work. I get hired to do projects for nonprofits and other organizations. So that's what I'm doing now. In fact, I'm working on a project right now I got to get done by Wednesday.
So keeping busy.
Keeping busy.
Definitely
yes.
Keeping busy. Why do you think programs like Illinois Gardener or Mid-American Gardener, why do you think they're so important to communities?
Well, the simple answer is they're great for information, and people want to know how can they, they're having a problem in their gardens. They don't know what to do. And so this is an easy access. Now, I guess when it first started in New York and then as Illinois Gardener, the internet wasn't what it was that it is today. So it was harder to get information. So you had a TV show that got you instant information and solved your problem. So I think that's one of the big successes, why people wanted to watch this show and why it became so popular.
So I would like to have, if you wouldn't mind, what are some words of encouragement for myself and just for the show in general for the next 30 years? When we touch base again, what are some things, some well wishes or just words of wisdom that you've got for Mid-American Gardener?
Well, I watched a couple of the episodes. I watched like the one you did with Diane, and it's enjoyable to watch. That's the most important part in my mind. It's got to be an enjoyable program to watch in order to maintain people's interest and get them to come back week after week. So it's just trying to do being yourself and being inquisitive and trying to think about what's going to capture your audience's attention this week.
And you mentioned the Diane segment. We've talked about that a little bit. We had so much fun out at her place. Have you? I'm sure you've been there before, or perhaps, but.
Well, yeah, but it would have been what, 25 years, 25 years ago. So it's probably changed. But I got to tell you, she didn't look like she changed at all. It looks like after the 30 years, and it's like, wow, that's Diane. That's the Diane I remember.
Gardening must keep you young because she does a lot of it out there, from vegetables to flowers. I mean, her space is incredible and probably was incredible 25 years ago. So thank you.
I don't think it was that expensive. It was really expensive. She had a lot of.
She did. Gardening. She had a lot of everything everywhere. So anything else that you'd like to add that I didn't ask you, or anything else about your years at WILL that you'd like to share or touch on?
No, I think you covered a lot of stuff there, and it was been enjoyable talking with you. And again, good luck, and I hope the show continues on, another 30 years, 10 years, 20 years, whatever it goes. And again, I don't know if you stream the show or you just do live broadcast, but with the technology today, you can certainly make the show have a larger audience and reach more people, become more interactive, because that's the big thing, is being interactive.
Absolutely. And we get calls from the Dakotas, Wisconsin. So I think people are seeing it. And it's funny, when they call in sometimes, they'll tell us what zone that they're in, because our audience is growing. So we're really proud about that. We're on YouTube, we're on socials. So we're really trying to get the word out about Mid-American Gardeners. So thank you so much for your work on the show. Thank you for helping to get this show off the ground and creating a space for gardeners and non-gardeners alike to hang out every Thursday night at 7 o'clock. So Jack, we really appreciate you. And thank you for coming on and letting us interview you today.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And good luck.
Thank you. And that was a piece of our interview with former Mid-American Gardener host Jack Kelly. If you'd like to see the whole thing, head to our YouTube page and you can find it there. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Good night.